I just think that should have been clarified in the ticketing info. VIP means seated, but not front row. Hi, I'm Sable, founder and digital event marketing strategist at Sequence RA. Welcome back to Style Chat, a weekly conversation series exploring my honest takes about what's working, what's missing, and what's next for fashion, beauty, and lifestyle events. Today's topic is all about when the event guest experience is lacking. Because at any event, especially fashion events, confusion instantly divides people into two groups: those who feel like VIPs and those who feel like they don't belong. If your guests don't know where to go, what to expect, or who to ask for help, they're not thinking about your brand, they're thinking about leaving. As usual, if you're watching the premiere, join me live in the chat. And if you're catching this video later, share your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it. This past September, I attended multiple New York Fashion Week events purely as a guest. I found, RSVP'd, and/or paid for the tickets myself. This gave me a true guest perspective. No backstage access, no press perks, just me, showing up and trying to enjoy the experience like everyone else. And because of that, I noticed details most producers overlook. Things that made some guests feel special and made others feel second class. Let's start with what happens before guests even arrive. I attended 2 fashion shows during New York Fashion Week, one during the day in Chinatown and one in the evening in Brooklyn. For both shows, the confusion started days before the events even began. For the Chinatown show, I purchased a VIP ticket, but there was no clear explanation of what made my access VIP besides the fact that I had a seat. I assumed the seat would be in the front row because in my mind, VIP equals front row. But when I got there, that clearly wasn't the case. The confirmation email also mentioned that I would receive a VIP stamp for entry, but I didn't receive any stamp, nor did I see anyone else get one either. For the Brooklyn show, the venue was changed 9 days before the event due to overwhelming demand. But as an event marketer, I believe the number of guests is something you control when you sell tickets based on the capacity of the venue. 2 hours before that show, I received an email confirming my seat assignment. And 30 minutes before the doors opened, I received another email with the Wi-Fi info, which felt like an unnecessary use of communication. I would have preferred to receive more information about what to expect immediately after checking in, like details for the step and repeat, food and drink options, details highlighting the designers, etc. Moving on to the check-in process. Check-in is where your event's organization or lack thereof shows immediately. At the Chinatown event, there were 2 lines, one for general admission and one for VIPs. It was about 77 degrees and sunny, and there was a longer wait time at the door because the elevator only fit 5 people at a time. That bottleneck alone delayed the show. I assume eventually everyone just started taking the stairs up to the 5th floor. When I finally got upstairs, my ticket wasn't scanned, just viewed, which made me wonder, how they track the attendance or know who to send thank you or follow-up emails to afterwards. At the Brooklyn show, doors opened at 6 p.m., and I arrived around 6:30 p.m. to find a static line outside the venue for another 20 minutes before the doors actually opened. There was no differentiation between VIP and general admission. Everyone's check-in experience was the same. People were entering and exiting through the same door, which created a cluster and a possible fire hazard. And even though security kept telling guests to have their tickets ready, no one actually scanned them. Now, once inside an event venue, every design choice, lighting, signage, music volume communicates a tone. At the Chinatown show, when I reached the runway area, staff looked frantic trying to seat people. Front row seats were labeled with what I thought were the names of the people who purchased VIP tickets. But as I looked closer, all the front row seats were labeled with the same sign that just showed the name of the event. I later found out that the front row was strictly reserved for guests of the designers. I eventually got the attention of one staff member who told me that my VIP ticket only got me a second row seat. I wasn't particularly mad about it, The fact that I'm able to sit down at all is a win for me. I just think that should have been clarified in the ticketing info. VIP means seated, but not front row. The seating at the Brooklyn show was even more chaotic. I was told my seat was C2, and while the rows were lettered, none of the chairs were individually numbered, nor did they have any guest names on them. Other guests were just as lost as me. Eventually, I followed the lead of other guests and just found an empty seat to claim in the second row. I spent most of the hour of 7 p.m. watching other guests stammer around looking for a place to sit. And staff looked just as confused as the guests and even had to bring in extra chairs 15 minutes before the show started. Here's the part event producers often miss. Great visuals don't make up for poor flow. A lot of events today, especially during Fashion Week, feel like they're being produced more for the photos and videos of the event rather than the guests who are actually in the room. It's like the only goal is the recap reel and not the real-time experience. The problem with that approach is that guests feel it. When producers prioritize optics over atmosphere, the energy becomes performative instead of welcoming. At the Chinatown show, the music was good, the collections were solid, and the show ran for about 30 minutes. But because of the elevator delays and seating confusion, guests were already restless by the time it started. The event also included a pop-up shop area, but since there was no pre-show campaign highlighting the clothing available for purchase, guests probably weren't thinking about buying anything. I personally decided to skip the pop-up. The Brooklyn show was visually stunning. Celebrity hosts, step and repeats, sponsored gift bags, everything looked expensive, but it didn't feel organized. The music was so loud it was shaking the floor, and the celebrity hosts left during intermission. At 8:55 p.m., halfway through the show, people were losing energy. The event featured 14 designers showing full collections. It was too much. They could have limited each designer to their top 5 looks to keep the energy up. I ended up leaving at intermission as well, since they only gave guests 10 minutes to grab a drink and get back to their seats. With that many people in the room, I'd say about 250 people, it took that long for them to even get out the runway area to get in line for a drink. I just knew it would be a crazy long night if I decided to stay. One of the most common forgotten touch points for fashion events is the post-event guest communication. During my experience with these 2 fashion shows, neither of them scanned my tickets, which meant there was likely no confirmed list of who actually showed up. So it will be a challenge to send segmented thank you or follow-up emails. That's a huge missed opportunity. Follow-up is where you turn your attendees into future advocates or customers. Even a simple thank you for coming recap email with a link to access step and repeat photos would have extended the event's lifespan. But when there's no follow-up, the experience dies the moment guests leave the venue. When I talk about VIP versus general admission, it's not just about who sits where. It's also about who feels considered. Clarity is luxury. When every guest understands what to expect, where to go, and how they fit into the experience, they feel valued. But when people feel confused, they start questioning the brand, and they may reconsider attending similar events in the future. Personally, I don't think I'll add these events to my calendar next September. Now I want to hear from you. In the chat or in the comments below, let me know what's one small detail that makes you feel taken care of at an event, and one thing that makes you want to turn around and leave. For me, one thing I love is when every guest touchpoint is thought out. I like to be taken care of from start to finish. And one thing that always makes me want to turn around and go home is a long ass line. This mainly pertains to free events. If the RSVPs are not timed, or if I'm not personally invited to show up at a specific time to get in, I ain't going. That's all for this week's Style Chat. If I gave you some ideas for your next fashion event, give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and visit the website to schedule your strategy session where I'll assist you in building a seamless digital event marketing strategy to create a cohesive story around your event and attract the right attendees. I'll look forward to meeting you. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!